about giving me an honor, I am honored, or a job, I know how to work. This is about our emancipation from the stain of believing we are supposed to accept a less than exceptional education for our children and get the scraps and the leftovers because we're supposed to be so poor that we can't be educated. And I am offended by those who believe that when our public schools don't work, the initiative is to create alternatives to public schools and celebrate those alternatives. And they're called options. Options, options, options. I'm okay with options, but if a public school doesn't work, can't you use the resources to fix the public school so you don't have to go anywhere? But if there's big business and entrepreneurial corporate benefit from that, then let's come up with these options. And the head of the district says, you know, I'm so proud of the options we've created. On whose behalf did you create those options? And what about the schools from whom the people run to go to the alternative schools? What happens to the children in those schools?
George McKenna is a quintessential educator of really the 21st century. This is a guy who takes no prisoners, but when you say that, he's not a guy who's interested in fighting for the sake of fighting. He's interested in really advancing the education of our children and giving them the kind of future that they deserve.
I'm very excited to support Dr. McKenna. Dr. McKenna has been in our community for decades as a teacher, a principal, a superintendent, and our community needs strong representation on the Board of Education. And I can't think of anybody better to sit on that board than Dr. George McKenna, so that's why I'm here. I didn't have the privilege of being one of Dr. McKenna's students, but I certainly know his legacy and I know what he did for so many young people in our community. And so, to me, the main lesson to learn from him is that you should keep your eyes on the prize. And the prize in this race are the students, the children of District 1.
My name is Steve Zimmer. I'm the Vice President of the LA Unified School District Board of Education. It was not a hard choice to endorse Dr. McKenna. I've never had the opportunity to endorse a candidate more qualified for a position ever in my life. So it was a real honor to be part of this campaign and this effort to try and bring a true educator to the Board of Education.
I came out here because I'm excited about the community actually getting involved and embracing around this candidate who's been in our community for so many years and being a strong leader for public education. So I came out here to support him, to see what I believe what the results are going to be, and the results I believe is going to come back, and George McKenna will be the next school board member of LA Unified School District. And this man brings so much to the table. He is compassionate, he is relentless, he is tenacious when it comes down to public education and educating our young people in our schools. And so that has impacted my life by watching his story when he was the principal at Washington High School, and what that story did in terms of saying that when other people said no, he said yes. He believed in the community and he believed in the kids within that community.
Dr. McKenna is someone who we got behind and supported because he's got real community networks, that not manufactured community networks, because because he knows education, he's been in it for decades, because he knows what dealing with segregation and resegregation looks like. That's what we're dealing with in the schools today. We need equality for all students, and he's someone who can fight for that. And finally, we got behind him because this guy knows how to stand up to the superintendent. And we are going to be very happy to stand side by side with the Congresswoman and this broad coalition and with George McKenna in doing that. So thank you very much, and thank you for everybody's work.
This city is going to be graced by the leadership, the expertise, and the commitment of an extraordinary man. George McKenna is one of the best educators in this country. He has given himself to us, to our children, our parents, coming out of retirement basically to be of service to this city and to this board. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get any better than this. I am not just happy because I've been a part of this. I'm happy for the children, for so many of the children of this city who really didn't have hope that they would be able to graduate and they would be able to be successful. Many of those who were dropping out because they had not been embraced by this district, by the leadership of this district that would empower the teachers and do what needs to be done. And so you can be proud because not only have we done this, but I don't think you realize what this means in this city. This means you have stopped a so-called machine. This means that you have said you can put all the money you want against what's right, and right is going to win. You have just said, we know you were looking at the next election because you thought you were going to win this one, but because we have stopped you, you can just get out of the way. Now, I've been nice long enough in this campaign. It's time for the real me to come out.
This campaign has been a great lesson because it really is a triumph of the people and the community over big money interests and those that believed that they could take a candidate that had not really labored in the fields in this community and supersede someone who, without any question or qualification or any reservation, was hands down the best candidate to lead the district in the absence of Marguerite Lamont and give our children the best education that we know they deserve. So again, congratulations, George. I'm proud that I was with you from the very, very beginning when I said you have to do this, and you said I want to do this. The school district, certainly the board should have appointed you, but in the face of that denial, we have shown them the people wanted you, and I'm happy to have been side by side with you from the very beginning to demonstrate that there is no turning back. McKenna and the forces in this community.
My primary focus is eradicating the concept of a dropout. I want to try to be sure none of our children drop out, and I'm going to need resources to do that. So raising funding limits so we get more funding from the state and the federal government, and put those resources in the school sites. I'm glad I won. I don't know why we're so close, but I'll take a win and move forward with that. I think I was outspent like 5-1, literally 5-1. Over $1 million. I don't think I even had $200. It was one race. That's a lot of money to spend and lose a race. It's a validation of my work for so many years, and it's a return on my investment that I made in this community for over 50 years. I invested in their children. Now their children are grown up, and I got that return in their votes, in their prayers, in their support. That's what it is. I definitely want to thank my dear friend, and whose building is right next door. We've been friends since New Orleans, Louisiana, and that's the one and only Danny Bakewell. And his son, Danny Jr., and the whole Bakewell family. Danny Jr. is the publisher now, and Danny is the owner and so forth, and they've been supportive all along. The LA Sentinel, La Opinion, the LA Times has endorsed, and that's been very helpful to us. But there's so many other people in here that are very helpful to us.